Hi everyone, 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins after 3 o'clock on our Friday afternoon, and kind of a nice day out there. We've had clouds, we've had some wind, it's blowing offshore. I wanted to start you out here at Bellwether Beach Resort because the tides have been running very low, and that's going to change. They're actually going to flip and go really high overnight Saturday night into Sunday morning, more so right around sunrise time frame of Sunday morning. So you can see really low tides out there right now, and that will continue actually through the first half of tomorrow too. We'll keep these easterly winds. Winds are out of the east-northeast at 14, low 70s out there. It's actually kind of mild. Look at the tides, and the concern area for that is going to be Sunday morning. High tides right around 3:30 or so. And in fact, that's when we're really going to start to see winds blowing onshore. They'll switch to onshore. And so the water level's already coming up, plus the wind's going to be pushing more water on top of that. We could see about 2 to 3 foot of storm surge out of that. Yeah, it's actually a little bit of what we would call storm surge. So let's talk about it. We've got showers and storms headed our way for your Saturday. Light rain gets started in the morning, 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. There'll be a few breaks, but it'll get heavier and heavier throughout the day. Tornadoes are possible late in the afternoon and evening hours. And in fact, there's going to be even another round, I think around 4 in the morning on Sunday, that we will have to watch for that as well too. 2 to 3 inches of rainfall for most of us over the next 48 hours. We can handle most of that, but if you live in an area that typically floods when you see heavy rainfall, you might want to watch that particular area. Wind gusts winds 30 to 45 miles per hour. We'll actually see some gusts a little bit higher than that. I think we could see some gusts in the 50s. Tarpon Springs, Newport Richey, Port Richey. This would be Sunday morning, even before sunrise, but right around, say, 4 or 5 in the morning through about 9 in the morning. A lot of the north and the west, and that's the reason why the water level will come up. So because of that, we have a coastal flood watch along the coast. That does include the inside of the bay, too. Water's going to get pushed up into the bay. I think, at least initially, that'll happen. The river flood warnings. We have a couple now in eastern Hillsborough County that we're watching, but we'll have to watch those because the rainfall will get into them and cause a little bit of an issue. I don't think that's the big deal, though. So overall, Saturday is going to be a rainy day more than anything else. It's just that when we start rainy and windy with east winds, as we get into the afternoon hours, some of these storms here could have a little spin into them. So number one, yeah, I know a lot of folks had a lot of plans for Saturday, and it's definitely going to be a rainy day. But number two, when you're out and about, keep in mind that we could have some stronger thunderstorms, and they could include some severe weather and an isolated tornado. That's 5 p.m. Look at this batch that's coming in, 7, 8 o'clock, right? That one right there has the potential to spin up some tornadoes as well, too. This is, just think small tropical storm. This is a very weak tropical system, if you will. This is not tropical. We'll not get a name. It's a winter storm for us. However, the effects are very similar to what we would get with a weak tropical system. And that's one rain band, there's another rain band, right? You see that? And inside those bands is where we could get some of those thunderstorms that were produced. Real quick moving, usually weak tornadoes, but a weak tornado is still a tornado, right? So we'll have to keep an eye out for you. Again, I think 3 p.m. Saturday through 9 p.m. Saturday is the main threat for that severe weather. And then this is 3 a.m. Now, a couple different things going on here. It's tough to see, but there's a line here coming through with the front. That will have to be watched for some strong storms as well, too. But at this point, look what the wind is doing. It's now blowing onshore down here from Manatee and Sarasota County, up into Tampa as well. And then from 3 a.m. through about 6:30, 7 a.m., the winds turn to the north and the west, and they pick up. That's when we could get some very high winds along the immediate coast. Keep in mind, high tide's coming up. Plus now we're pushing water onto it. So this may drag some out of the bay, but it's certainly going to push it up along the immediate coast. And then gradually throughout the day on Sunday, that wind decreases. And look at this. I mean, this thing's basically a nor'easter going up the coast. The Carolinas will get it early on Sunday, and then you can see it moves up into the mid-Atlantic by Sunday night, and then eventually up towards New England, Sunday night into Monday. Now, closer to home now, let's go kind of in order here. We're in the low 70s. Very comfortable out there. We'll go down to the mid-60s for tonight. Look at the wind that you're seeing out there. 28 mile per hour gusts at Davis Islands, 14 in Tampa, 31 in this last hour in Sarasota, 36 in Venice. Yeah, it's a little windy out there. Now, we'll get a little break in that wind. You see how it kind of calmed down, those colors there? That's about 7 o'clock tonight. Still breezy, just not as windy tonight as it has been today. Tomorrow morning we start the same. Tomorrow, that's 7 a.m. Watch what happens. Fills back in, winds pick back up, still out of the east. Still having really low tides in the bay. That will continue through tomorrow afternoon. Again, remember, it's not really until after midnight tomorrow night into Sunday morning that we're going to see the winds turn back on shore. So we're going to keep that easterly breeze all the way through. Now, let's talk satellite and radar. Obviously, lots of clouds out there today. There are a couple of sprinkles trying to fall in northeastern parts of Polk County out towards and just south of Orlando. This is out actually towards Legoland area. One or two of those will make it back to the coast, but I don't expect much for this evening. So Friday night plans, they look good. 7 p.m., falling into the 60s. Again, mid-60s for lows. 7 a.m., we already have some light showers in the area. You can dodge them. You can dodge 2 or 3 of those, but it will fill in. We'll get a break. This is 11:30, but here comes another band. In fact, literally call it a band of showers and storms. That's 5 o'clock. That's a closer view of what I showed you, that big picture. You can see all these cells that we'll be watching. Winds sustained, the model says, at 22 miles per hour. Gusts will be well into the 30s from the east to the west, blowing out. So that tide in the bay will get even lower during the day on Saturday. Then here we go, Saturday afternoon and evening. This is 8:30. Here's where some of those stronger storms will be, and the wind will be picking up with it as well, too. Winds sustained at 23 with gusts in the 30s and 40s, I think, by that particular time. And that's about 8:30. Now, here's the deal. Look, 8 o'clock on Saturday evening, we air Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. At 8:30, we do Frosty the Snowman. I love Christmas, but if there's a tornado warning in there, we're going to have to break in and cover it. So I'm just kind of giving the word out right now. It's not my fault. I hope that doesn't happen, but there is a possibility that that happens. Now, here's the ironic part. Right after, and this timing may change too, by the way, but right after this, it will give us a break. That's 11 o'clock. So if we can get that timing, that would be really good, right? But then there's the frontal boundary that has to come through, and there it is. That's the one at 3 or 4 in the morning on Sunday. Winds, look at this, I mean, literally south to southwest out of one side and then northwest out of the other. This is the low, and that's going to give us a chance for severe weather as well, too. That clears out of here by sunrise, and then we're done with showers and storms for Sunday, okay? The high temperature for Sunday will be about 72. That'll be at midnight. This is Sunday morning at 10 a.m. We'll be in the 60s and falling, okay? Most of Sunday will be spent in the 60s, but look at that onshore wind. That's why we have the coastal flood watch, because that's pushing water right up against the coast. Think 1993 no-name storm. If you know that, that was incredible. This is not that. This is much weaker than that, but it's a similar setup. We had this squall line come in with a storm system. The center actually went up here, not up here, but it put a squall line through here to put water up to US 19 in Pasco County from the Gulf, right? That will not happen with this, all right? But we will see a similar setup with those onshore winds to push the water up along the coast. Now, the Storm Prediction Center includes everybody from Tampa southward in a 2 out of a 5 risk. It's a slight risk for severe weather, and the main threat for that's going to be tornadoes because of all the spin that's in the atmosphere. Initially, that went down to about Fort Myers, but we do see some bands that will be coming across South Florida as well. So earlier this afternoon, the Storm Prediction Center went ahead to extend it all the way to the south. Here are the winds. 4 a.m. Sunday morning. I kind of showed you what most of them are going to look like. I want to emphasize that wind coming back on shore and our water levels starting to really come up. Again, they've been running so low, it's going to flip-flop. And that's 4 a.m. That's when we'll really start this. But notice this wind that's offshore. Yes, it comes down, but not much. And in fact, because there's nothing to block this, that wind is coming across water. We've had east winds coming across the land, trees, buildings. It blocks it, knocks it down a little bit. When that wind comes across the water early Sunday morning before sunrise and just after, it's got nothing to stop it. And I think we'll see gusts in the 50s along the immediate coast. Clearwater Beach, Tarpon Springs, Newport Richey, all these areas right up along the water. The forecast model is saying gusts to near 40 in Tampa at that particular time, and certainly by that. But as we move through Sunday, it will come down. That's about 11 p.m. on Sunday evening. You can see we're still breezy, but we are still seeing those onshore winds. So it gets better throughout the day on Sunday. Now, needless to say, dangerous boating conditions, high rip current risks, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, high surf, the whole 9 yards, erosion, at the beaches. So it's certainly something that we're going to be watching. Those areas like Shore Acres, you're going to have to be watching it because what happens early on Sunday morning before the sun comes up, I showed you that wind coming in, that water level comes up, could be as high as 2 to 3 feet. The latest data I just saw shows it closer to 2. The model run before that had it closer to 3. So that's great news, saying perhaps 2 foot of surge. inside Tampa Bay. Notice that coastal flood watch goes in Apollo Beach, right? You're looking at it as well too. Plus, remember, a lot of wind, so you got your boats tied up. You really want to get them tied up, get them protected as much as you can for Saturday night and Sunday. It's going to rain throughout the day tomorrow. So for preps, the first half of the day would be the better half because it really starts to get heavy, and that severe weather threat in the second half of your Saturday afternoon. And the main concern for the winds, especially for boating and, well, on the water, that, you know what I'm talking about, your docks and those things, will be early on Sunday morning. We haven't talked much about the rainfall. It's 2 to 3 inches. You can see this red stripe right in here is about 3.5 inches. This will change. This model flip-flops all the time, but it doesn't change much. We've been thinking about 2 to 3 inches, but there will be some spots that see a little bit more than that, okay? And we have, look at this. This is something you don't see a lot. Tonight's planner looks fantastic. Friday, enjoy it. It's quiet, it's mild, it's breezy. It will stay cloudy. Look at the forecast for tomorrow. I mean, east and northeast winds 15 to 25 knots. They'll go to 30 knots at time with gusts even higher than that. So 2 to 5 foot seas will actually go 3 to 6 by tomorrow afternoon. Rough, small craft advisories through Sunday, of course. Look at the planner for Saturday. 100% rain chances. We don't put that on there that much, but we're going to get it as we get into the afternoon and evening hours. So the winds will pick up. They will stay out of the east for the most part for tomorrow. Again, that switch will happen before you wake up on Sunday morning, so you want all your preps done by Saturday. I'd say even late morning more than anything else tomorrow morning. We do stay breezy on the backside, and as we dry out, which we will during the day on Sunday, most of that day is actually dry anyways, the cooler air is coming in. How about a high in the upper 50s on Tuesday? Lows obviously in the 40s Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning, and then gradually we warm things back up as we get towards the end of next week and next week. And by the way, some boat parades got moved to the 22nd next weekend. Winds look light. Weather looks great at that particular time. So really good news there. There's your 7-day forecast, and you can see temperatures cooling down quite a bit Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but getting back to where we should be, which is about 73, 74 degrees by Friday.